bunch of reporters who were standing by. They'll be shouting some questions as the president and the first lady walk out and head over to the Marine One. I suspect he will not stop. We do expect, though, John, that when he gets to Joint Base Andrews at this little farewell ceremony that he's organized, we do expect to hear from him there, right?
We do. Jim Acosta was there a short time ago. He said the president does plan to give some brief remarks. Again, outside of tradition, normally the president might have a news conference in his final days, might sit in the Oval Office and do an address, a live address to the American people. Instead, this president taped an address, again, in which he did not speak Joe Biden's name. So we'll watch as this plays out, and as he goes away. I suspect one of the reasons he won't want to stop and talk today, because he will be asked, not only did he pardon a number of people last night who you would have to define as influence peddling swamp creatures. Remember, a signature promise of candidate Donald Trump was to drain the swamp. The pardons he gave last night included a number of swamp creatures, people who traded in access and influence. And he also rescinded, when Donald Trump became president, this is the fraud of this administration. Well, he lies repeatedly to his own supporters, which is the ultimate failure of a leader, lying to your own people. He said he was going to drain the swamp. Last night he rescinded the executive order he signed early in his administration, preventing lobbying by former Trump administration officials. So the whole thing was a ruse. He's taking it away as he leaves. Again, he's taking with him also a pot of $200 million that he raised from his own supporters, saying that money was to contest the election, when, if you read the fine print, a lot of it went off into a post-presidency political fund he can use as he tries, and this will be the defining test, as he tries to continue to exert his influence over the Republican Party as he leaves.
It doesn't look, John, as if the Vice President, Mike Pence, has come over to the White House to say goodbye to the president. He's going to be at the inauguration. He's going to be at the swearing-in ceremony for the new president of the United States, Mike Pence. But it doesn't look like he's there, and it certainly doesn't appear to be the case that he's going to go over to Joint Base Andrews to say goodbye either. This relationship has really been strained over these past several weeks.
4 years of near total loyalty from the Vice President of the United States. And what did he get? 2 weeks ago today, the President of the United States told his supporters to attack the building that is behind us. He told them to march on the building behind us. I want to be fair to the President, but he sent them up here saying, you cannot be weak. You must be strong. You have to take your country back. Stand up to the weak Congress people. He mentioned the Vice President, his loyal Vice President, at that rally. And his supporters went into the building behind us, the United States Capitol, some of them chanting, hang Mike Pence. So you cannot blame the Vice President for the fact that this relationship has fractured. And even in the final days, we are told the President has repeatedly told the few people left who support his grievances and his lies that he thinks Mike Pence could have done more. Mike Pence followed the Constitution. Mike Pence respected the will of the American people. And so the relationship is fractured. And I know that the Biden team is actually grateful. There are a lot of Democrats out there who have no love lost for Mike Pence because he served at the side of Donald Trump. But the Biden team is actually grateful that Vice President Pence and Karen Pence are coming to this inaugural to give it some semblance of decorum and tradition.
It looks like they're taking some boxes out. This is staff members taking some boxes out, I assume, to Marine One to take over to Joint Base Andrews with the President and the First Lady. Jamie Gangel is watching all of this. You're getting some more information. Jamie, what else are you learning as we await the President and the First Lady to walk out of the onto the South Lawn, board Marine One for that brief 10-minute flight over to Joint Base Andrews?
You know, Wolf, as we're watching this, I'm old enough to remember when President Nixon resigned and left in disgrace. And I just went back and took a look at the final days of Richard Nixon, because now we have another president. He has not resigned, but he is leaving in disgrace. And if you think about the fact that Donald Trump has never conceded, I just want to read you 3 lines from what Richard Nixon said at the end. He said in his last speech that the interest of the nation must always come before any personal considerations. I must put the interest of America first. And by taking this action, I hope that I will hasten the start of the process of healing. Even in comparison to Richard Nixon, Donald Trump simply could not rise to the occasion, And I'm also told by a source familiar with President-elect Biden's speech that he will not be mentioning Donald Trump by name. Wolf?
You know, it's really crazy when you think about this, Jamie, that the president, since November 3rd, when the election took place, and a few days later, all of a sudden everybody projected that Biden was the winner. I don't think, John, maybe you remember better than I do, I don't think we've heard Trump mention the name Biden even once during all of these weeks.
No, we have not. And again, this is a nation founded on the rule of law. The president had every right to be upset that he lost, and he has every legal right, as he did, to ask for recounts in Georgia. Three times they counted the votes in just that one state of Georgia. 3 times Joe Biden was the winner in the recount, and yet the president of the United States called the Republican Secretary of State after all that and said, I need you to find me 11,700 plus votes, enough votes to win. He called other officials as well. He sent people into court where, again, judges turned it away time after time after time. So you could give some period of time where, okay, let the president run out his legal recourses. But then there were 2 months where he lied to the American people. He lied to his own supporters, saying that he had won in a landslide, never picked up the phone to Joe Biden. There were some hiccups in the transition. We should thank the career people in government and some of the Trump appointees who decided in the end they needed to start cooperating with the Biden team on the transition. But I don't know the words for it. I will use rude. It's certainly outside of tradition. But the fact that the president of the United States refused to accept the results of the election after they were recounted, after every state certified them, after a number of Republican states. Arizona is an all-Republican state. Georgia is an all-Republican state. The president lost the election, and to this day, he refuses to accept that with respect and decency, and to extend his hand to the new president of the United States.
Yeah, it's been 152 years since a president of the United States refused to attend the inauguration of his successor. Pamela Brown, I understand you're getting some new information on the Vice President, Mike Pence.
That's right. I just spoke to a source close to Pence who says he is not expected to be there to say his final goodbye to President Trump at the White House today. I'm told by this source that he had said his final goodbye yesterday, but you do have to wonder, given what John just laid out, if Pence would be there this morning had there not been this falling out over the election and the president's push to overturn the election results and have his own vice president do so. As we know, the president called Pence a vulgarity. His supporters threatened Pence because he would not overthrow the election results, which he is not able to do, and just because he was following the Constitution. And so as the president departs today, this morning, it is notable that Pence is not there. And as we have seen, Pence has really been filling the role as president in recent days. One of the questions is, did Pence leave a letter for Kamala Harris? We know he has called her. Did he leave a letter for her or Biden? And we know that there had been discussion of the president leaving a letter for Biden. Did that happen? There's still some questions as the president departs the White House for a final time this morning.
Yeah, there are plenty of questions out there, and we'll be anxious to get all of the answers as we await. This is momentarily, we're told, the president and the first lady will be walking out that door on the south lawn of the White House board, Marine One, and make that brief flight over to Joint Base Andrews. There will be a little ceremony, goodbye ceremony for the president at that point. Then he's out. He will land in Palm Beach, in West Palm Beach, before the inauguration, the swearing-in ceremony behind us up on Capitol Hill. We're watching all of this unfold. Anderson.
Van Jones, as we watch this and wait for the president, I'm wondering how many of us kind of realize the degree to which this change, the kind of the import of this change. I mean, to not have President Trump, the name Trump in our heads 24 hours a day is going to be a big adjustment, and something I think a lot of people in this country welcome.
I think that's right. I think right now you have, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 million people holding their breath, just holding their breath, looking at this. And I think when that sigh of relief comes out, it's going to be audible around the world. And the sad part about it is, you got, this